G'day mate, and welcome back to Factorio with me, JD. So, what are we doing? Well, first off, a couple of things. So, we're missing an inserter, which I belt is not in the box. Well, there you go. So, I moved, in the last episode, just moved the solar out of the way, and the bots took forever to do it. Because the bots are quite preoccupied building this monstrosity. Still, and we can bring up the robot overlay, and we can see that like all the robots are down at least, which means all the trees are definitely going to be dealt with. I'm guessing that's what these bots are currently doing. And we bring up the power overlay and see it's all built. You know, we're just waiting on 10 bazillion solar panels, and well, there were solar panels and accumulators in the network, but the robots have already bagged them and they've disappeared. So I want to try and get these builds up and running. So we have, I gotta find my calculator again. It's here somewhere. Found it. So calculator. We want to try and get the batteries and the accumulators. Now, straight away, if I change you to nothing and click that across, we need, we'll call it 100 for round figures, to 50. Which means we can almost do a 2-to-1 ratio, which is pretty close. And that's what we might end up doing. Our other option is if we fill these things with speed modules, which we can do, we go to 97 to 40. So again, we're going to call it 100 to 40. And then if we do a 2.5 refineries to accumulators, that would also give us a ratio that works. So, first things first, we're gonna copy a 8-8 beacon setup and plop that right there, and then get rid of all the crap I don't need. And then we're gonna need 3 of these at least. And if I change that recipe to accumulators, where are accumulators? There. Without the speed modules. Pick this guy up, put down a chem plant instead. Set you to batteries, copy that, pull that one up, put that one in its place. Run max rate calculator, and it says we're almost on ratio, which is what I like to see. Our other option is we go like that, and then pop one of those in there, and then add. Why do I have no speed modules? Robots, why do I have no speed modules? Give me speed modules. Yeah, I brought over some Logibots on this trip back. Just a few. Our other option is this sort of format, which again, we're slightly overproducing on batteries, which is fine. I don't mind overproducing on batteries, but it's also like going to be a nightmare to try and get a 3. Well, actually, it's not even that. It's like that. I just realized how bad this is. Without that. Yeah, that part doesn't actually exist. That's our ratio. Which is now slightly underproducing on batteries. Which I don't mind. See, I don't... Okay. Anything with a fluid connection never turns off. Okay, an important thing that if you want to build really large megabases, it's something you need to realize. Any fluid never turns off. So that means every single pipe you have on the map never turns off. Any chem plant you have never turns off. Your refineries never turn off. And when I say never turn off, I mean if we bring up this menu and we go show active state, I can see that these little red dots mean these things are off. If I go look at this, it's all off. My refineries are on. My pipes are on. All of this is on. These chem plants are... No, according to that, you never got a fluid connection. Really? I managed to screw that up? That's a little bit shameful. Deconstruct. Deconstruct. Okay, fix that small little problem. Actually, no, these will turn off if they're backed up. But the pipes won't. So you really want to minimize your pipe connections, or minimize your pipes as much as possible. But a refinery doesn't turn off. No, because it's just dealing in liquids. My cracking never turns off. Because it's always dealing in liquids. It's not dealing in anything solid. So maybe I have an opportunity to limit the chemical plants and therefore turn them off and have that little bit of idle state. Because anytime they're idle, it means the computer's not processing them. If the computer's not processing them, it saves some processing power. And after that's all balanced out over, 60 times per second, which is what your UPS is. It's updates per second. After that's all balanced out, it means whether your factory is running at 60, being full speed, or whether it's running at 30, which is half speed. And yeah, ideally you want things running as fast as possible. But it's not always, it's always obtainable. You can always use a deconstruction planner to make things smaller. But then again, also at the same time, we're building towards a goal. And I want to try and keep things as optimized as possible. So, I could build like this, which is overall less machines. And possibly less pipes. Or I could build like this. Which, again, we're technically slightly short on batteries. 0.055, 0.028. So this is actually closer ratio, but it also means more machines overall. So there's always pros and cons everywhere. But the first thing I want to do is I want to look at direct insertion. Okay? Because that's going to be really a deciding factor for all these builds. Can I get max beacon coverage? Around everything. Copy you. No, you now no longer reach. What are we at? 13 sources, 15 sources. Slide. 14 sources. Why are you at 14 sources? And you've got 15 sources. Okay, cut you guys, bring them in a tile. Actually, did I already go through this mayhem once? Yes! So I want something like this. Except I want you to be a chem plant, and you to be a chem plant, and you to be an assembler. And you are going to do batteries, you're going to do batteries, you're going to do accumulators. We're going to put prop mod in you and you. Get rid of that, get rid of that pipe. Those in... So... No, I will need something along here. But it'll actually be a input. Where's a stack inside? I can lay my hands on. You. Input. Input. Okay. Let's rerun those numbers. So you've still got 15 sources and 15 sources, which is what we had down here. We've just compressed the whole build down to make it slightly smaller. And we're now producing accumulators a lot faster. Well, actually, just as fast, but at a smaller footprint. Smaller footprint's what we're going for this build. Powering it would be an absolute nightmare. So I need to have... Oh. Powering it's not possible. Okay. Things are going to step forward in threes. So from there to there is a set of three. If I move... I'm going to move you out by a tile, then you out by a tile, and then I'm going to add a tile somewhere. Because I can only... Because of the way the beacons are set up, I need to move everything by a factor of 3. So I'm trying to get myself a little bit of extra room in here to get pipes in, which I can't do. Okay, no, we're going to leave that problem for now. We'll just... This is potential build number 1. And I'd have to put power there. And I'd have to... Houses. I actually can't get output out of this guy. At all. If I bring... Oh, if I bring the acid pipe in here... And then here... Okay. Maybe we can get an output. Maybe we can. So I'd have to bring in my materials here instead. Oh, but then I can't put power. And then I have to output with that imaginary stack inserter. So that's an input, that's an input. I have to output there. I have to power the whole thing with small power poles. Or actually... pipes? No pipes. You have pipes. So I'd actually be bringing the pipes in from the outside like that. Into this one. Which means the top row is not powered, but if I take this whole build and mirror it, the top row would still not be powered. In fact, I'd actually make things worse. Small power pole. It just doesn't have the reach. It does not have the reach. I just put it over there to get power from... Well, no, the next one to go over here somewhere and just power up from over there. Again, I'm just trying to cut down... I'm trying to build things as efficiently as possible. So I'm trying to cut down on entities. And every single power pole is technically an entity. And I can cover the same distance with, well... a substation and a half? Oh, out by tile. There we go. A substation and a half can, like, cover the same amount of area as 3 power poles. 4 power poles. So, yeah. Okay. Whatever. Build number 1. We have an option. Put you up there so you're going to get power. And then see whether we can do that. Something similar down here. And the trick is I have... So I have that, plus I have that, plus then I have this. So we want one of those, plus another one of those. Actually, in your entirety. So that's what I mean. Like, I just did twice the span with 3 substations compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power poles. Yeah, that's going to add up over time. Actually, you're in the wrong spot. It won't quite tile perfectly because substation power... Whatever. It's a later problem. Okay, put that there. Alright, so this would be... This would resemble some sort of build number 1. And then on top of that, I'd need to have another one of these slotted in like down here somewhere. Bring your output like on a belt. We're just going to use some imagination for a second. Up there. Bring it into that one. And then into that one. Yeah, this guy still needs its iron, its copper, and its acid, and all that sort of stuff. That I'm not worried about that. I'm just wondering, like, is this feasible? Is it worth the extra effort of having that splitter there? And suddenly my calculations change, but oh, because I'm waiting for the beacons. Bots! You're being too slow. Gimme. Gimme. Okay, now we run max rate calculator and it says I'm at point. Why am I over suddenly? 0.2. 0.8. Okay, so you've got 15 effect sources, 12. Oh, because you're meant to have in there and in there. That's what I did wrong. Okay, 0.285. Negative 2.85. Yep, they're both the same. Okay, so this becomes the build. And like the only way I can really optimize it one of these guys outputs 2.1, which is going to go with 2 for round figures. So by the time I built 20 of them long, I'd be doing 40 and a bit items per second. And our negative rate is we're behind by 2.7. So I could then have 20 of these in a row, just output onto a belt, and then use a splitter to go in here and a splitter to go in here and just run the belt along the bottom 20 long. Potentially 20 long. But this top feed-in belt, we shall also have our iron on it. Ooh, no, it won't. It'll be the bottom feed-in belt, which will also have our iron on it. After we've done 2 we're using 11. That means at 4 we're using 44. So at 4 of these blueprints along, we've used a whole belt of iron. Actually, 2 of these belts, because we're sharing iron copper. We're sharing iron copper for the batteries. Can I get another half a lane from somewhere? I could possibly. So I could put iron and copper down here. And put iron up here and batteries on the other side. And then at the end of the belt, we just stop the iron passing through and just let the batteries pass. Not the batteries, the accumulators pass. And then we would be in a situation where I could probably feed this 4 long. So, which is 8 accumulators, which is 4 times this output, which is... What's that? 8, 9? 9 per second. And I needed 2,500. 2500 divided by 60 equals 41. So that means 9, 18, 27, 36, and then a half a build. Yeah. Okay, so if you followed all that, the question I answer for myself is, this is technically more compact and technically more efficient, but because of the absolute high headaches of routing everything, plus having to bring in the extra batteries to feed these two assemblers, so not worth my time. So this is the build we're going to go with. Which now brings some fundamental questions. How the hell do you feed it? And how the hell do you feed it? So you're using 5 iron currently. And as I said, if I take this, double it, take that, and double it again. Come on, bots. Come and bring stuff. You can have a power connection there. I'm going to be generous, give you... Oh, that's right. You don't actually... Oh, yeah, you don't get power. Okay, so that's an output. That's an output. We want this stretched as far as possible. That's an output. Or an input, rather. Okay, that really doesn't look right for the substations. Okay, that one's fine. The next one's all the way over there. Then I have one here. Okay, that's a repeating pattern. Okay. So at half a belt of iron has been used between what goes into making the batteries and making the accumulators. We've got 17.03. 2500 divided by 60 equals 41.6 divided by 7. Ooh. 46 divided by 17. I really hope it was 46. 2500 divided by 60. It's 41.6. So divided by 730 should give us the same answer. Means I need to do 2.5 of these builds. That actually seems incredibly small now. So I'd have to... Oh. How do my pipes line up? They... Holy... No, they don't. Why does one set of pipes line up, not the other? Because you don't have your output, your corresponding output pipe. Okay, try that again. Now... Third time's a charm. Okay, now the pipes line up. So I could paste that down, have that as like a starter build, or actually even have that as the total build. Roboport. Alright, so first things first, let's place this down. Let's grab our Roboporty friends. Put that there. Just have some power. I don't care where you really get it from right this second. And you can have some power too. Okay. It's pretty well covered, at least for machines and everything else. 7. We're at 2,000. Okay. See, I had 2.5 times. 2.5 times is very, very wrong. So, 25 satellites with 100 accumulators in each satellite. I can't do any sort of productivity modules. Divided by 60 seconds to get a second account is 416. Divided by 7 is 60 blueprints. That seems a little bit excessive. Even that seems excessive. Okay. 2,500 divided by 60 is 41.6. Settings per second is 41.6. Okay, so we just confirm that number. Divided by 7 neat. Means I need 6 blueprints. Okay, now we're getting somewhere closer. How much acid do you use? 500, so it's not too bad. But it does mean I have... So I have a whole belt's worth of iron. Either going through the chem plants and the assemblers. Yeah, I have a whole belt's worth. Okay, what happens if I get rid of you guys? What does that bring my iron usage down to? That brings my... Oh, of course, it's exactly as the copper usage. Okay, let's try that again. So my copper usage is 13, which means my iron usage is 13. I can take my copper usage up to 22.5. Which means I can increase it by 7? 8. So... that much to build, possibly? That looks like a pretty good overlap. I need another substation all the way out here. I need a shit ton of speed modules. Go speed modules. Go B and do things and make everything go faster. It won't tell me how many I'm missing. We'll just go and do a general top up. So, 22.9 is slightly too much. 22.5 is as high as we can go. So if I cut off the last chem plant and we ignore it, we're at 21.2. So this, we can feed up to this guy, and this guy will get a little bit. That is providing we're running all the machines flat out. Technically we're not, because we have a small deficit on batteries. So we are running all the chem plants flat out. The assemblers will be a little bit behind. So our production might only be 6, not 6.125. Okay. I'm looking at my options. So no matter what, I need to get a belt of iron into this. To run the chem plants to make batteries. And I need to get a belt of copper into the exact same build. So I have an option of... We've all done this before. We've all done this before on our smelters. Bringing this straight in here. Bringing iron, say in that way, copper in that way. Well, let's do it that way so we know something's definitely wrong with it. And then take the other half of the output and running it in here. Like so. And if I did that, it's a lot simpler for me to take a whole belt of iron, whole belt of copper, smash the two together, get half a belt each, and run it into the two belts. And then some simple maths says, okay, if this needs 22.9 copper, if we subtract 23 copper away from the 35, it means I only need 12 iron. Which means if this needs 12 and that needs 12, that's 24. That's a half a belt of iron. Which means if I did 4 of these builds, I could then take a belt of iron, put half on this belt, well, quarter on that belt, quarter on that belt to feed the accumulators, quarter on this one, and a quarter on that one. So, options. Okay, one more pass of this. So, we're making 6.125. Or actually, let's just do a count. How many... 7. 7 is such an odd number. Okay. We're doing... I forgot all my numbers again. We need 2500 divided by 60 seconds equals 41.6 divided by 6 is 8 builds. It's like 7 builds, but 7 doesn't really divide by 2 terribly well, so it's probably going to mean 8 builds. That's a lot of inserters swinging. It's a lot of balancing and hoping for the best. Okay. Before we go anywhere else, let's go into plan C, because there's always a plan C. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Now, plan C is we sacrifice all the space in the world. We're going for 2 chem plants per refiner, per assembler. 1 chem plant, 2 chem plant. You, sir, are going to do batteries. Batteries, power, accumulator. You have no speed modules. Alright. Now we can do funny business like this. And run our pipes in, because the current implementation, the pipe's got to come out from out this side. This means I can bring the pipes on the inside. It also means let's move you all the way out of the way. It also means I have more room to do things. So, we can do belt boxes. Or buffer boxes. Belt stubs. There we go. I've got the right word now. So I can bring in the iron like this, and we could buffer that into there via a box to save UPS, because I've already been over that previously. Out the top, I'd have to have that. No, hang on, we're going to go direct. Ooh, okay. See, this was one of the reasons why I compacted the build. If I compact the build, I go to just a straight long-hand inserter, which does have to move 2.19 items per second, but they can do it. These will have to move the exact same amount of materials. What went wrong there? 12, 15. Huh? 12, 15. 0.55. Am I tagging extra things? 0.55. 0.55. Okay, 0.055. Whatever. So, you guys don't actually output. So, that can be your input. You do output, which I could probably run north-south. Do I see anything wrong with this build? Yes, lots. Is there a fix? Not one that I see. Can I move you over a tile? Is that going to improve things? Possibly. Okay. No, that does not improve anything. So I was trying to work out whether I could put a belt stub at the bottom. And the answer is no. No, JD, you can't. No. No. So iron and copper in the bottom. Double long-handed inserters, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest. Really not a fan of them. Maybe it'd be better with a stack inserter onto a belt to a stack inserter, possibly. Easy to get the fluids in and out. Okay to get the batteries out. I honestly don't think it'd be a problem if we built. Let's go look at something square. Chem plants. If we brought resources in like this and then brought materials out in this direction, I don't think that would be a problem, because we'd have to run our iron and copper this way, or this way. It doesn't really matter. In from the east or in from the west, in from the left or in from the right, doesn't matter. Have to run it in from one side to then put it in the chem plants to make batteries. Put the batteries in with the accumulators, which will still need another source of iron. So probably a... Oh. Oh, you need that square. You need that square. Okay, so power has to go in. I can't put power there. I could put power there, and then there, and then you won't have any more above you. So the moment I've got this output into the middle, I can do that and bring the iron in there. So iron in. You already had iron. I don't really want you to have iron. No, we could bring dedicated iron in here. Get rid of this crap. Bring dedicated batteries across. I think this is the build we're going to go with. Yeah, I'll have to, off camera, duplicate it a few times, work out exactly how long it's going to be, and then how tall it's going to be, and then come back to you guys next episode with whatever the answers happen to be. I think I've got an idea, or it could be a fart floating around in my brain. I'm not sure. Anyway, with that bombshell, I'm going to leave this episode here. It's way longer than I had hoped. I'm not sure if the brain's just not turned on, or if this is just harder than I remember it to be. But yeah, I'm going to leave this episode here. I'll see you guys in the next episode where hopefully this is finished and we can go on to something else big and beautiful and wonderful and something to really get the head thinking about. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next one. Bye.